Hello everyone. Let us get started with C++ certification training. So we are going to look at hex, or rather we will have an hex overview. What is an hex with respect to C++? So the topics that we are going to cover are hex overview and implementation of Tic Tac Toe game. So what is hex overview? So this concept involves basically the conversion of natural number to hexadecimal, or rather radix 16 or base 16, right? So there is an inbuilt function that is available in C++, which is std : hex. The function std hex is used to set the base to hexadecimal, right? So basically, to understand this, I will bring up a browser here from Wikipedia. So I believe you will remember from your school days, college days, that we can have a number represented in different forms. So if this is a decimal number, its hex is 0. Like this, until 9 the hex value is 9, then 10 is A, similarly B, C, D, E, until 15 is F, then 16 becomes 10, right? Then 17 becomes 11. So basically, how is 17 becoming 11? So you take 17, right? You divide it by 16, it goes in 1 and remainder is 1. So we represent 1, 1, which is equals to 16 to the base hex. Sorry, this is 17 to the base 16, right? Similarly, if you have another number, so let me go back to my slide here. So if, let me clear all this from here. Now I have 54. So how does 54 work? So I'll take 54 divided by 16, 16, 3, 48. Then I have remainder 9, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 6, right? So then I represent it as 3, 6, right? And if I have to convert it back to decimal number, or rather to the base 10. So in that case, what I do is I take this number and I say 16 to the power 0, right, into 6 plus 16 to the power 1 into 3, which translates to 54 to the base 10, right? So this is how we do hexadecimal conversion from decimal number to hex number. So we have basically some inbuilt functions to perform these operations for us. You don't have to evaluate it. So let's move on to the next slide and see some other examples. So like hex, we have method for finding octal, decimal, hex number, right? So if you will see here, decimal will represent decimal number which is coming out to be same. So similar is the case of octal decimal number. Consider the following. So you have octal, hex, decimal, right? So if I have, this is a decimal number to the base 10, right? Now if I represent octal, it will be the value 142. Decimal will remain the same, and then hex will become 62. So we know that we can convert 62 back to decimal by saying 16 to the power 0 into 2 plus 16 to the power 1 into 6, right? So we'll get back our decimal number. So this is how we can convert a decimal to hex and vice versa. And there are inbuilt functions provided to do this. You don't have to write logic to do that yourself. Now let us look at a tic tac toe game. I mean, we all have played a tic tac toe, so we will try to understand the rules to play this game, and then what is winning and losing condition, or and draw condition, and then we will write a implementation for this. So this game is to be played between two players. One of the player chooses 0 or O, you can call it, and other as X to mark the respective cells. The game starts when both players optimally make them move one by one. The game ends when one of the player has completed the row, column, or diagonal marked by the respective characters. If no player wins, the game is set to draw, right? So I believe you all have played this game earlier in your school days, college days, or maybe now as well. So suppose player 1 marks X and player 2 marks O's, right? Here the player 1 chooses the character X and player 2 gets the character O. Since the player one is marked all the diagonal elements, so this is a diagonal element, all marked as X, so the player one wins in this case, right? So this is a winning condition in a tic-tac-toe program. Now moving on, let's look at, this is a case where it is a draw, where nobody has won the game, right? So we don't have any horizontal or vertical or diagonal completion of the similar characters, right? So we will try to understand and implement this particular program or game with the help of coding, C++ coding as well. So to summarize our discussion, at the end of this session, you should be able to understand hex overview, or rather what is hex, a conversion of a decimal number, and vice versa, and then how to implement a tic-tac-toe game. So finally, to summarize our discussion, we have looked at what is an hex overview and rules to play tic-tac-toe game and implementation of tic-tac-toe using C++. That's all in this discussion. Thank you so much for your time.